What's going on, guys, in the Works Media, and welcome to the first episode of Modern Warfare 3 Class Act. And today we'll be looking at the P90. And the P90 has been around for quite a while. It's been around since COD 4, so it has kind of this cult following where a lot of people always love the P90, and it hasn't really changed much along the way. And today we'll be using the extended mags with sleight of hand, quick draw, steady aim, and kick. And for our tactical and lethal, we're using the motion sensor, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, with the Simtex and the specialist strike package. So pretty cool, pretty cool. The P90 is one of those weapons that has always been notorious for having that huge magazine on it. It's much more substantial than a lot of the SMGs in the game, and it allows you to play a little bit more aggressive. But what I like to have with all my SMG classes, I like to have the ability to have scavenger, because SMGs tend to go through ammo very quickly because you miss a lot of shots, especially if you're trying to pick people off at longer ranges. Luckily, the P90 doesn't have a lot of recoil. And that's one of the great things about it. That's one of the reasons why it's always been so popular. It's a very steady weapon. It also has notoriously had very good hip fire, and it hasn't really changed much from any of the Call of Duties. Honestly, if you've used the P90 in the past, it feels almost the same as it always has. But the reason why I run specialist strike packages for various reasons. Like I said, I like to have scavenger for my SMGs, and I found that the specialist strike package allows me to have scavenger and play aggressive at the same time. One of the really cool ways that I set up my my specialist strike chain is like I have it so that my first perk will be either assassin, or maybe like if you're already using assassin, maybe have quick draw on there, because quick draw is pretty important on a lot of the SMGs. It allows you to be a little bit more aggressive, because aiming down sights is important at the medium ranges. I mean, hip firing is definitely a part of this class, which is why we use steady aim. It's one of the best ways to kill people. But I found that having scavenger in like the second or third slot on your specialist strike package is one of the best things you can do. But let's take a look at some gun stats before we get deeper in. The fire rate on this P90 is about 857 rounds per minute, so pretty good. Not the worst, but not the best, but pretty solid there. It does do 42 to 20 damage, so at the longer ranges it's going to be a 5-bullet kill, where up close it's going to be a 3-round kill. So pretty good, not too bad. The reload time is a little bit longer, 2.76 seconds, but if you have sleight of hand on, that's really not an issue on that one. With the raise time being 0.76 seconds, so pretty quick there like most SMGs. So if you have quick draw on, once again, you're going to have a pretty quick aim down sight. But let's talk a little bit about the motion sensor and why I like to use it, especially on a class like this. Normally you'd use a motion sensor on like a camping class, not necessarily a class like this where you use to play a little bit more aggressive. But I've been using the motion sensor a lot to kind of predict where spawns are going to be, because the spawns in Modern Warfare 3 are notoriously bad, and there's really not much we can do about it. I mean, we can complain all day, but it hasn't changed yet. So I found that the motion sensor actually allows me to be really aggressive, because I can throw it down at choke points and figure out which way these guys are trying to flank. It allows me to predict, and be ready for people, as opposed to just sitting there with your thumb in your butt, waiting for them to flank around behind you. This allows me to take them head on and, just try to outplay them, because that tends to be the way I like to play the P90, because the P90 is pretty much a beast. It shreds through people, and right there was a good example of how good the hip fire on this thing can be. Let's talk a little bit more about the specialist strike package while I'm thinking about it. The reason why I do have scavenger in like the second or third tier, even though you're using extended mags and you do get a little extra ammo there with that, I think you get an extra 2 magazines if you use extended mags, much like dual mags used to be. The cool thing about it is that having scavenger in that third slot allows you to get ammo around the time that you're probably going to need it. Because right when you get that 8th kill, you're really starting to run out of ammo, and you're like, oh god, I don't want to have to switch weapons. The secondary is important, but when you're using the P90, it's not really that big of a deal. So if you're running this class, one change I might want to suggest, instead of the Akimbo Scorpions like what I'm running, perhaps try out a Stinger, because it'll help you get to like your second or third tier of your specialist strike package if you shoot down a couple of UAVs. And ooh, knife fail in that guy's part. He is not knifing me, because I am going for a Moab. I think right now I am, I don't know, I think I'm at like 17 kills right now, so I'm going to get pretty close in this video. I won't spoil it for you. But the P90 is a really solid choice. There is no reason why you should never pick the P90. It's probably one of my favorite SMGs in the game. This and the PP90 M1 is also, I don't know if it's any relation to them. I should have looked that up before we did this video. But they are both really solid choices, and this class I run right here is probably my favorite rushing class in the entire game. Just because, you know, this, like I said, the Specialist Strike package allows me to use the perks that I want. It allows me to play aggressive, and I almost die right there, and that would have been a heartbreaker considering how close I am to this stupid Moab. But it allows me to play aggressive. It allows me to be a little bit, you know, versatile in how I play my classes. It allows me to have all those perks that I want to have, and range really helps out on this P90, so maybe instead of kick, you might want to try out range. But here we are working our way up to our Moab. That is kill number 22, and here is kill number 23 coming up right here. Oh, that is a heartbreaker. So I die on kill 23, but let's take a look at a different class since we got here. So one of the changes I can suggest is swapping out a quick draw with Assassin, and instead of steady aim, trying out Dead Silence. This is more of a stealth-based class. You are going to be able to flank a little bit better with this. If you're playing solo, this is a good choice too. And we're using UAV, Ballistic Vest, and the SAM turret. I found that the Ballistic Vest really help you out. A lot of people underestimate how important a Ballistic Vest can be to keeping you alive, but there's been so many situations where I've put on a Ballistic Vest and I've survived a attack that normally would have killed me. And I find that it really complements an aggressive class like the P90, especially if you're flanking around like this. SAM turret is pretty much self-explanatory. It helps you when you're playing solo. That's why I run the SAM turret. This is more of a solo type class. If you like to rush and you like to play by yourself, this also works really, really good because the SAM turret keeps those pesky UAVs out of the air, and it kind of helps your teammates do better. And it can also rank you up pretty quick. You get a lot of points from SAM turrets. The UAV is pretty self-explanatory. That can be swapped out for maybe something of your choice. I like UAV, even though a lot of people do run Assassin. There are a lot of options there. Now, as far as the secondary on this class, it's really up to you. I think I'm using the Silent M9 on this, or MP9 I should say. So it's really up to your personal preference. I like a Silent machine pistol, but if you want to run a Stinger, that works just as well. One thing you might want to keep in mind is it is going to be a little bit stingy on the ammo. You might run out of ammo pretty quick with a class like this, but I don't know. I like range. I'm using range here. I think range complements the silencer nicely because you do lose a little bit of your range with the silencer, so that kind of cancels it out. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this first episode of Class Act. Let me know what weapon you might want to see next, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.